All right, here we go. Why is this happening to us? Nice dance. All right, let's go.
The park closes in 3 hours.
Yeah, it sure does. And go! The park's only open for 3 more hours, so we're gonna try to get some rides, get some snacks in.
And we're walking into the park with 6 lightning lanes already, which means it's time for a Genie 101 refresher because they've changed the rules again. So let's get into that real quick.
Genie refresher.
Genie Plus is the paid service that replaced FastPass Plus. It allows you access to over 40 attractions at all 4 parks, and it allows you to go into an expedited line called the Lightning Lane. Genie Plus, when it rolled out, was $15 per person per day. However, recently they added staggered pricing. That means on busier days, it's going to cost more. On slower days, it's going to cost less. Again, the lowest it will cost you is $15 per person per day, but we've seen it as high as $29 per person per day at this point. The last thing that Genie Plus added are individual Lightning Lane a la carte ride selections, or as I like to call them, fancy rides. These are the attractions in each of the 4 parks that are so fancy, they're so special, they're so in demand that they are their own price. Those attractions are not included in Genie Plus, but you don't have to purchase Genie Plus to get a fancy ride and vice versa, and you're going to pay a per person, per ride cost to access the Lightning Lanes at those popular attractions.
Refresher done on a rock and roller coaster.
It's not done, we're just getting started.
Refresher's not done, rock and roller coaster has to wait.
Genie Plus is an incredibly confusing system, and there are some rules that you need to remember when you go booking your attractions. For starters, Genie Plus attractions, not fancy ride, Genie Plus attractions are booked on a first come, next available basis. Fancy ride attractions are booked on a pick what's available basis, and then you are locked into a certain time. When it comes to fancy rides, Disney World Resort guests only can book their first one at 7 a.m. Anybody else can book them at the time that park opens, which means you do run the risk of that attraction filling up before non-resort guests even get the chance to purchase it.
Rock and roller coaster?
Not yet, still explaining it.
All right, Genie time.
When it comes to fancy rides, you can book up to 2 per person per day, and those can be across multiple parks. When it comes to Genie Plus attractions, you can book as many as you'd like per day based on availability. Certain attractions can sell out for the entire day, and they tend to go pretty quickly. Attractions that go quickly at this park include Slinky Dog Dash. Over at Epcot, you're looking at Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Over at Magic Kingdom, you're looking at Jungle Cruise, and at Animal Kingdom, Safaris? Nothing really goes out that fast. Nobby, nothing goes that fast at Animal Kingdom.
What about rock and roller coaster?
Not time yet.
Okay.
When it comes to booking Genie Plus, you can book your, again, first one at 7 a.m. and you can book your next one either after you've used that first one. The first one expires because you didn't use it for some reason, or after it's been 120 minutes since you booked the first one, whichever comes first. Disney doesn't want you to book a really popular attraction like Slinky Dog Dash or like Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, get a later afternoon time and then not be able to use the service all day long. Because of that, if you are planning on coming into a park in the afternoon or evening time, you can do what we in the biz call stacking, which means you stack a bunch of lightning lanes after a bunch of 120-minute windows, so that way when you walk into the park, you already have a bunch of attractions ready to go, which is exactly what we did today. There has been a big change to Genie Plus, however, since I've done a Genie video, and it's something that we, as Genie users, Disney fans of the community, have been asking for since the service started. It was my biggest complaint about the system, besides, the cost and how confusing it is, but it was my biggest complaint about the system, and I'm so glad they upgraded this just last week. Previously, when you booked an attraction, you were locked into that time. Even if you saw a better time come available or a better attraction come available, if you wanted to snag that, you had to go in, cancel the one you already had, and then try and book another one, but usually by the time you went to do that, it was gone, and you weren't able to actually modify your selections at all. And now you can. You cannot modify fancy rides. Once you purchase those, it's like buying a movie ticket. You are locked into that ride at that time. But as far as Genie Plus goes, you can now modify those attractions right there within the screen. It is a great upgrade to the system. So going back to 7 a.m. as I was laying my bed after a restful 2.5 hours because I couldn't stop watching White Lotus. It's 7 a.m. I knew Slinky Dog Dash would be the hardest lightning lane to get today, so I went ahead and clicked it right away, booked whatever time was available. It was a mid-afternoon time. I then clicked those 3 dots on the tip board on my pass, and you'll now see a little menu pop up, and one of those options is Modify Pass. And I kept clicking it and looking at it until it said change to this time, and that time was after 6 o'clock because I knew that's when we were coming into the park today. Additionally, I had another alarm go off at 8:30 this morning because that's when this park officially opened, and I was pleased to find there were still a few Rise of the Resistance lightning lanes for purchase, so I purchased us those as well for later this evening. Now, one more caveat to the 120-minute rule: that 120 minutes doesn't actually start until the park officially opens. So even though I booked Slinky Dog Dash at 7:30, the park didn't officially open until 8:30, which means I wasn't able to book my second one until 10:30. But every 2 hours today, so 10:30, 12:30, 2:30, 4:30, I've been booking lightning lanes all day, which is why we walked into the park again with 5 Genie Plus attractions and 1 Fancy Ride attraction. Whew. I got more tips and tricks, but that was a lot right there, so let's get walking towards Tower of Terror and I'll sprinkle them in throughout the day, shall we? Let's go to it.
Rock and roller coaster time.
Rock and roller coaster time. Oh, it's snowing.
Yeah, you were talking about Genie Plus for so long that the weather changed. I took a quick little lap around Hollywood Studios, got myself a pretzel
Jealous?
with beer cheese, met Mickey,
Aww.
saw the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular.
You saw the entire stunt spectacular.
I actually waited in the queue for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and I was considering getting on Tower of Terror, but I didn't want you to miss that. So
Yeah. There's a lot of Genie Plus information.
But you did great.
Thank you.
Rockin'. We kick off our evening by going to Rockin' Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, presented by Haynes, where you get backstage passes and hop on a super stretch limo to go to an Aerosmith concert. I'm super excited. I have not been in this super stretch limo in a very long time, and I'm looking forward to it. As the name would suggest, Rockin' Roller Coaster is a roller coaster that has a 48-inch height requirement, has 3 inversions, and accelerates you from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.8 seconds. It's a thrill.
Rockin' Roller Coaster was the 3rd Genie Plus attraction I booked today in that 12:30 slot, and I'm about to dish out a very hot pro tip when it comes to this new modification feature within Genie Plus. When I booked it at 12:30, remember it's a first available system, the time it gave me was 3 to 4 p.m. Now you realize that we are not here from 3 to 4 p.m. I knew we were not planning on getting here until later than that. I continuously checked back if I could modify it for a later time. About 45 minutes after initially booking it, I went in to modify it and it gave me a time of 5:10 to 6:10, which I thought would be perfect, and I went ahead and selected that modification. Here's the tip. I was thrilled to find this out. Modifying a lightning lane does not reset that 120 minutes. I booked it at 12:34, which meant my next one could be booked at 2:34. And even though I modified it around 1:15, I still kept that 2:34 as my next bookable time. So if there's an attraction you want to do, but it's not the time you don't want to do it yet, book it anyway. Continuously look back every 20 minutes or so to see when it's going to show up in the later time that you want it, and then modify it. Don't waste time. Go ahead and get that 120 minutes kicked off again so that you can keep stacking them on top of each other. What limo do you hope we get?
Fleet Emotion.
Oh, that's a good one. I hope we get Love in a Roller Coaster, which is Love in an Elevator, but they change it.
It's very meta. We got neither of the songs you predicted. Instead, we got the one that goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't remember the name, though.
I don't either. I don't know. But I liked Rock and Roller Coaster. It's always a blast.
It is. Tower of Terror. Tower of Terror. This attraction has a 40-inch height requirement and takes you on a jaunt through a 1920s hotel that has been struck by a horrific accident when lightning strikes. It also apparently has a 135-minute wait, which is a moment when I'm thankful that we have a lightning lane for this.
Yes.
Back to the story. Lightning strikes the elevator one night, sending all of its residents to the Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is the 2nd attraction I booked today, so in that 10:30 slot, as Alan said, it has a 135-minute wait. It's an incredibly popular attraction, some people's favorite in all of Walt Disney World, so I knew it would be a good one to lock in right after Slinky Dog Dash. And I did the same thing I did with Rock and Roller Coaster. Initially, when I booked it, it was a little bit earlier in the afternoon, so I checked back a few times and actually almost immediately had it popped to the 5:35, 6:35 slot. Went ahead and locked that in. And now we have our reservations to check in.
Seatbelts buckled to the left to the right. Please stow all large items at your feet. As the elevator drops in, I'll call you in row by row.
A warm welcome back to those of you who made it. And a friend.
Tower Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster. Which one do you like more?
Rock and roller coaster for more thrill, Tower Terror better theming.
That's my answer too.
Yeah.
That's my answer too. I like a coaster more than a drop, but you can't beat the theming here.
Beautiful.
Both are must rides in my opinion. Whilst in the queue for Tower of Terror, my alarm went off, which means we could book another Genie Plus if we want to. We have a little bit of time at one point, but I stacked them pretty close together, and I know we want to eat some snackies. But
Like snacky.
if the app would load, I can share the options, but
This is awkward.
we're having to use Alan's phone. My phone's having a moment.
It was a brief little reposition.
She's tired.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Okay, we could book A-Wing Swirling Saucers that has a 25-minute wait. We could book that in about an hour and 20 minutes. All the shows are done for the day. We already have Mickey and Minnie's. We could book Smugglers for 8:30 with a 60-minute line there. Rock and Roller Coaster, 40-minute line, no more lightning lanes. We already have Slinky. We could book Star Tours for like right now. Rise has a 90-minute line. Toy Story Mania, 60-minute line, 115 at Tower of Terror.
Why not the Smuggler's Run?
I will book Smuggler's Run. However, we may opt to eat snacks versus smuggling.
To snack or to smuggle? That is an age-old question. So we've canceled our Smuggler's Run lightning lane.
We had it for all of 12 seconds, but that is a good reminder that you can cancel a lightning lane, and it doesn't have to be for everybody in the party. You can individually select. So if you've got somebody that changes their mind on an attraction or decides that they're going to go back for a while or wants to do something else, you can take that person off of the lightning lane and not cancel it for everyone. And then that person's free to book something else.
Or to snack, while other people smuggle.
Yes. Snacks or smuggles, pick your team.
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is not just a fun name to say, it is a fun attraction. It is fun for the whole family, there is no height requirement, and it has replaced Great Movie Ride. But that was a long time ago, and people are surely over it. They're not over it.
Disney viewers. No.
This attraction follows Mickey and Minnie on a picnic date gone awry as Goofy and his train derails and takes you through a variety of different scenes to a number of new locations where you get to engage in some fun shenanigans.
In our calendar of booking Genie Plus today, I booked this one in the 2:30 slot. So after I had locked in both sunset attractions, I went ahead and booked Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And that's because I knew I wanted to start on sunset. And if I could book Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror close to each other, that'd be great. I know a lot of people don't want to zigzag back and forth across the park. And sometimes you're at the mercy of Genie Plus, but sometimes the Genie odds are in your favor and you're able to kind of select and stack things close to each other near the same time. So again, I booked this one at the 2:30 spot today, and I was able to lock in a time that worked quite well after finishing up down on Sunset. Please. Have we found your hand twin before?
Yeah.
Who's your hand twin?
Puppeteer.
Jim Henson?
Jim Henson is my hand.
That's nice. Mine was one of the Golden Girls.
Oh, which one?
I think Rue McClanahan. I think Blanche, which is
probably Blanche.
felt good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For a relaxing ride around the floor. Hurry, hurry, hurry! Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Oh, excellent! You're all waltzing so beautifully.
Such a cute attraction.
It's so good.
Such a cute attraction.
I just think every time I get off that ride, I couldn't love it anymore, and I do.
The projection mapping, the amount of thrill and excitement that goes into a family ride, it's great.
What is your favorite secret on that attraction? If you want, I can go first.
I'm gonna mull it over because there's a ton. There's a ton of Easter eggs and details and hidden Mickeys and. You go first.
I've got
I'm
two.
mulling it over.
I've got two.
Okay.
One is the nod to the Great Movie Ride It's called the Great Moving Ride.
Sure.
When you're entering
sure.
through the sort of carnival sequence. And then the second is the name of the plumbing company, which is UWorks and iWorks.
Oh, I was gonna say
which is a reference to iWorks, who was one of the original animators of Mickey Mouse.
That was a good one. I thought about that one. Okay, a lesser known one is the fact that the whistle that the train makes, the toot toot, they actually got out of the archives the whistle that made the Steamboat Willie whistle in the 1928 debut of Mickey Mouse. They got that very whistle out of the archives, and that is what they recorded with to make the sound effect for this ride.
Very cool.
Very.
And now we away to Andy's backyard.
Yeehaw!
Slinky Dog Dash time?
Toy Story Mania time.
Oh, goody.
Your favorite. That's how you feel.
That is how I feel.
That was Alan. You can't see us right now, but that scream was Alan.
Certainly not a small child. Definitely me and my feelings about a game that involves colors on a 3D screen.
Rootin' tootin' scooting our way into Andy's backyard now.
Nice.
Thank you. I just thought of that. And it's, of course, Toy Story Land, which is all decorated for the holidays, and it's so cute. I love Rex's little antlers up at the top of Slinky Dog. I like that Woody has a nice scarf here. Oh, hey.
Backyard with all you new toys. This is definitely my finest hour.
Ours too, Woody. Thank you so much. Good to see you, pal. Right past the giant Woody statue right here, you've also got the entrance of what is going to be Roundup Rodeo Barbecue. It's a new Toy Story themed restaurant. It was supposed to open this year, but they actually just announced it'll be sometime early next year. I just think this land is so cute all the time, and then at nighttime it's even 10 times cuter somehow because all of the Christmas lights, which these are year-round, mind you, these Christmas lights look amazing. So if you can, visit this land at night, because one, it looks adorable, and two, there's no shade here in the backyard, so it's better at night.
What was Andy's mom thinking?
I don't know. Why wouldn't she plant a bush?
Bring in a landscaper. Toy Story Mania is a shooter-style attraction where you are playing a series of arcade games competing against the other individuals in your ride vehicle. It takes you through a variety of different scenes where you have to shoot a number of different targets with various different points, and I'm given to understand that there are 4 different colors of little shooty handy thingies.
Yes, the shooty handy thingies.
That's what it is officially.
Why don't we make this interesting? Because we've said we want snackies.
We do.
We said we're not going to book Smuggler's Run in our little downtime window because of snackies.
Snack time, not smuggling time.
Winner chooses snackies.
Boy, oh boy, do I love my odds. You know what? This is a time where things can change, right? You can flip the
You
script.
won last time we all played this together.
Yeah, but I was playing alone. There were no other darts to confuse mine with. I have faith.
Toy Story Mania was the last of the lightning lanes I booked today, so I booked this in the 4:30 spot. Toy Story Mania is an awesome family-friendly game, and it's one I love riding because you can keep playing again and again and trying to better your score and hit those secret targets and things. But it doesn't typically book up as fast as some of these other more popular attractions. So if you're kind of tiering which attractions you should book when, Slinky Dog should be your first priority. Then you should look at things like Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, then Toy Story Mania, and then you get into things like Star Tours, Alien Swirling Saucers, and the shows. Do you want to be green or yellow?
Yes.
Look at this idiot.
Coming in fast, Woody.
Look at this dumb practicing. Save your strength.
Ready, aim, break the plate.
It was a close game. And technically, it was like 20,000 points different. And technically, we got the same level because we got the same prize. So
What do you want for a snack?
what I really want is Baseline Tap House. But unfortunately, it closes an hour before the park, and it's closing right now. So we can't get there. What about some tachos?
Oh, Woody's lunchbox. Okay.
Where?
I will put in a mobile
Where?
order
No,
for some tachos, and we go ride Slinky Dog Dash.
Yes.
Onward. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone that got me here. My mom, Tim Allen, Tom Hanks, Walt Disney, John Lasseter, the entire creative team at Pixar, but most importantly, Alan and his non-functioning eyeballs. This means a lot.
Slinky Dog Dash time?
Yeah.
Okay. Slinky Dog Dash is up next, and it is kind of like a Hot Wheels set that Andy has taken and built in his backyard, and he's now sending Slinky Dog all throughout the Hot Wheels set with the key with 2 takeoff points. And while there are no inversions, it is a great roller coaster for a first-time coaster rider. The height requirement for this attraction is 38 inches, and there are a lot of fun hidden details in the queue of this attraction. Now, I will say, during the day there is absolutely no shade, and this attraction's queue is no different. So if you do choose to ride it during the day, make sure that you've got some water and stay hydrated and cooled off while you're in this queue.
But if you want to avoid the Slinky Dog Dash very long queue, you're going to want to book this one very first at 7 a.m. with your Genie Plus. Slinky Dog Dash is for sure the most popular Genie Plus attraction in this park, often filling up within just a few minutes for the entire day. One way that you can make your life a little bit easier at 7 in the morning is to make sure you're setting up My Day prior to 7 a.m. Go into the Disney app and click Set Up My Day. It will ask you which park you're looking at. It will ask you what are your top attractions at that park. Go ahead and check all of those. Make sure to check Slinky Dog Dash. And then it'll ask you if you want to see things like height requirements, if you have any other interests, and that sets up your day. By setting up your day, you're effectively pinning your favorite attractions to the top of your tip board, and then you can edit it throughout the day so the one that you're looking for is available at the top. Then right at 7 a.m., I recommend using a world clock on somebody else's phone to count you down. So right at 6:59:59, you can pull down to refresh the tip board and click Slinky Dog Dash, which should be at the top of your list. You're going to want to go ahead and click through as quickly as possible, and it will generate a time for you. When I did it this morning, it gave me 3 to 4 p.m. And again, we are coming later in the day, so I went ahead and modified it, and within literally just a few seconds, it offered me a much later time, which we are now riding. Now, the thing about the modify function that is a little bit not perfect is the fact that you can't fiddle faddle. When you click modify, it's just going to show you a new time there, as well as times for anything else in case you'd like to go in and change attractions altogether. But you can't fiddle faddle that screen. When I say fiddle faddle, I mean refresh, which is a way that I often get more times to pop up. The way to fiddle faddle as best as possible with this new modify function is to click the 3 buttons, click modify, see what it offers you, and go back and keep doing it over and over again. I had to do that a few times today, and it could potentially change and offer you a new time. Typically with fiddle faddling though, could you be quiet, Slinky? Anyway, typically to fiddle faddle when you're looking at the tip board, it's a great way to see if new times can pop up. Maybe you're only seeing times pretty far out. Maybe there's an attraction you want to ride and it looks like it's gone completely. You can refresh the screen continuously, and oftentimes after a few minutes of doing so, or even less, a new time or an attraction may pop up. You got to be really quick though. You got to click it as fast as possible so that you are able to lock that in. But that is one of my best tips for using Genie Plus. Are you scared?
Mortified.
I can tell. You look very scared. Is that your scared face? I love Slinky Dog. I know people think it's overrated, and yeah, if you stand in an 80 or 90 minute line in the heat,
Yeah.
sure. But when you stand in no line and it's not hot out, it's awesome. I didn't notice this before, but since it's the holiday overlay, when you go around the loop part with Jesse and Rex, it like was playing Jingle Bell music. It was really cute. This land is so cute. It's so cute at first. It's like, look at her hair. Look at that hair. Ornament. No?
Ooh, you're what now? Here, let's try that a different way. Here's what we call that. We call that a ornament, and that's just better. Wowzers! It's a very cute attraction. Holiday overlay is great. And let's get some snacks.
I also want to point out that was our last Genie Plus attraction of the night. We did 5 of the biggest heavy hitters in the park in 2.5 hours by stacking lightning lanes. Genie Plus was $17 for us today, which is on the very low end of what it can cost, so I personally think it's worth it. However, I know with more people and at a higher price point, it gets harder to justify that cost, but we saved quite a bit of time waiting in lines. Tower was 135 minutes. With Tower's line alone was almost as long as the entire time we've been here riding 5 things. So
I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah, it was worth it.
So Genie Plus, very complicated, can add up, but can also save you a lot of time if you know how to use it efficiently. Okay, tachos.
Snacks.
Ornaments. Woody's Lunchbox is this cutie patootie restaurant here in Toy Story Land. They are known for their tachos, which are basically loaded tater tot nachos. They've got sandwiches like grilled cheese and brisket melts. They have the Lunchbox tarts, which are like gourmet Pop-Tarts. And it is an adorable little area with the string lights and the straws. Ooh, fireworks from the projection shows. And I also just noticed that for Christmas, they've hung popcorn garland up on the top. So it's very, very cute. This is a very popular restaurant, and the mobile order spots can fill up quickly. So if you want to eat here during the daytime, you're going to want to put those orders in fast. However, I do think it's a better spot when the sun has gone down because, again, this land is so cute at night, and 2, there's no indoor seating, so if you're going to eat a hot bowl of potatoes and cheese, you may want to do that when the sun's down.
From Woody's Lunchbox, we picked up the barbecue brisket melt, which is shredded smoked brisket, pickles, and a tangy barbecue sauce between melted cheddar and Monterey Jack cheese on a grilled sourdough bread. That sounds delightful. As well as some tachos, which are tater tot nachos. And they call those potato barrels coated with beef.
Tater tot a copyrighted word?
I believe it might be.
Tater tot must be trademarked. That's funny.
Potato barrels coated with beef and bean chili, shredded cheese, and a signature queso sauce with tomatoes and corn chips, finished with a little bit of sour cream and green onions on top. This is a sizable helping. I'm actually quite surprised. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have high hopes for the brisket. I thought it was gonna be very like high school, middle school cafeteria brisket. Kind of the brisket in air quotes. It's not. It's very tasty, tender. The barbecue sauce is tangy, not super sweet or overwhelming. Yeah, solid. It's also nice that you got the pickles that are there to cut through some of the richness of the sauce and the sweetness with a bite of sour and crispness.
I love tachos. I think they are such a delightful treat, especially like I was saying, now that the sun's down, it's a little cooler out. I love the crunch from the Fritos on there. It's really good, nice bean-based chili. Has a bunch of different flavor in it. It's spicy, but not hot. I did grab some hot sauce though, because we're hot sauce fans, to add a little bit more heat to it. Love that there's that creamy queso on there as well, the little zest from the sour cream. And there is a plant-based version of this. So if you're a plant-based eater, the chili itself is vegetarian. Of course, the Fritos and the potatoes are vegetarian. And they can do vegan cheese and sour cream on there as well, so just let them know up at the counter. And I think tachos are a delicious hit. They could be a meal for one or a snack for multiple. Look at that. Yum. Finished our Woody's Lunchbox eats in record time, and now we're headed to the galaxy far, far away for our final attraction of the evening. And did you forget? We have an after-hours surprise.
I didn't forget.
Now, of course, the most popular thing to do at Hollywood Studios in the evening is see Fantasmic, which has come back in all her glory, even better than before with the new scene with the addition of Frozen 2 and Moana and Mulan and Aladdin. And if you are going to see Fantasmic, which I 100% recommend, go to the later show if there's 2 shows. The first show fills up pretty much every night, and you'll end up waiting in a pretty long line. You'll want to get in line at least an hour in advance for the first show. However, the second show, I've seen it twice in the last week, and we were able to walk right up both times about 15 or so, 20 minutes or so before showtime. I'd get there around 30 minutes before showtime just to be on the safe side, but if you can make it to the last show, you're much more likely to get in.
Rise of the Resistance is one of the most spectacular experiences, not just attractions, but experiences in Walt Disney World and in Disneyland. It has a 40-inch height requirement, and lightning lanes fill up rather fast. The attraction itself utilizes multiple different types of ride technology, but mostly utilizes the trackless vehicles that takes you throughout multiple different scenes throughout a adventure, misadventure, captivity experience, kidnapping.
All the above.
Yeah, if there was D on a Scantron, it'd be all of the above there. In space, with your pals, the Resistance.
And your not pals, Kylo Ren. I
don't know.
The First Order, that's what they're called. The First Order.
Good recovery.
I almost called them the Empire, and then I was like, no, that's the other one.
They're really kind of budget Empire, if I'm being honest.
This is not Space Mufasa.
That is correct, Molly.
Rise of the Resistance is the fancy ride at this park. Remember, that means it's an individual cost to ride it. It's not included with Genie Plus. Today, it was $17 per person to ride it, and I was pleasantly surprised that there were still some lightning lanes available for non-resort guests to be able to purchase. I do think they're figuring out the inventory a little bit better these days, because I've seen that happen more and more frequently. I've also seen it happening over at Cosmic Rewind at Epcot, so that's hopefully some good news. That's just my speculation. I have a bad feeling about this.
You have what I want. If anyone's packing a blaster,
So freaking good.
It's just so cool. I get teary every time because of the music, and then like Lieutenant Bet comes back and he thanks you. It's worth the money to me. Or if you don't want to pay for it or not able to get a lightning lane, get here early and get in line, or go last thing at night. However, it does break a lot, so you run the risk of not being able to ride that night.
Worth it though.
Well, that's a wrap on our evening here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. We rode 6 of the most popular attractions in just 3 hours. Use those lightning lane tips and you can stack and do this too.
Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you are new, and make sure to follow us on all of our socials.
Until next time, friends, I'm Molly.
And I'm Alan.
And it's been magical.
Bye.
Bye. Just kidding.
You thought we forgot.
We did forget. Let's go.
Yeah.
Currently, it is 9:15 p.m. The park officially closed 15 minutes ago, but as you can see, we are walking further into Batuu, into Galaxy's Edge, and that's because we have a date with Destiny. And Destiny's name today is Oga. One thing you may not realize is that you can actually book Oga's Cantina, one of the hardest reservations to get, the watering hole here on the planet of Batuu. You can actually book Oga's Cantina reservations up to an hour after the park closes. That's not an error in the My Disney Experience app. You are absolutely allowed to do that. And it's such a fun experience, especially for Star Wars fans, because you're gonna get a basically empty Batuu. You can take some really cool pictures of the Millennium Falcon and Kylo Ren's TIE Echelon. And if you are wanting to go to Oga's Cantina, you're not, quote, wasting park time doing it. You can enjoy your 45 minutes after the park closes as a fun nightcap on a great day. Hi, Rex.
Oga's Cantina is the local watering hole here on Batuu, much like you have Mos Eisley Cantina on Tatooine, where you've got DJ Rex, who was once the pilot of Star Tours, now acting as the DJ at the cantina, playing the hits all across the galaxy.
taking a look at the Oga's menu, you're going to find a few specialty beverages, and this is all that's available. It is just pre-made cocktails. There is no substituting anything. There is no ordering something like a Jack and Coke. It's just these specialty beverages. On the alcohol side, you've got the Fuzzy Tauntaun, which is that one that makes your mouth tingle. You've got the Bloody Rancor, which is like drinking a Space Bloody Mary. You've got a lot of fruity, kind of bachelorette-based cocktails. There are also signature beers that you can't get anywhere else, as well as a couple of wines.
You also have non-alcoholic beverages for those of you who do not want to consume alcohol or want to bring your little ones into Oga's Cantina to see the beautiful ambiance. Some of my favorites are the Blurg Fire, not just because it's a fun name to say, but because it's a nice spicy lemonade, or the Black Spire Brew for those of you who also enjoy coffee.
We were seated at a shared table inside Oga's and thought it'd be really weird if we filmed ourselves talking while our seatmates were trying to enjoy their drinks, so we filmed these and VO'd them later based on our notes. The first drink that I tried was called the Deborah Slug Slinger. Deborah? Dabora?
Dagobah.
Dagobah. Anyway, it is tequila, blue curacao, because of course it is, citrus juices, ginger, herbs, and bitters. It was actually pretty good and less sweet than some of the drinks I've had inside Oga's Cantina. I really liked the ginger to balance that out. Plus, our server Phil told me that the slug that made the juice was just sitting right there behind the bar because only the freshest slug juice at Oga's Cantina.
I started with the Outer Rim, which is effectively a space margarita. It had beautiful fruity flavors and it was topped with an exotic fruit puree. I think it was passion fruit based on the taste, but ultimately a pretty darn good marg.
Also decided to try the Tonneray wine on tap, which was made on Alderaan, so I'm led to believe there's not a ton of it left in the galaxy. Too soon, perhaps? Anyway, it's basically blue Chardonnay, and I'm not normally a white wine drinker, but it was a pretty good, nice, crisp Chardonnay, not super sweet, and it's just fun because it's blue.
And I picked up the Jet Juice, which is a space old-fashioned kinda, but it is kind of spicy, which is nice, and I'm not saying it's like super heat, but it is nice and a tingle on the tongue.
Ultimately, I don't think you go into Oga's Cantina for the different beverages. For me, they're very, very sweet. They're a little bit gimmicky. I think you go into Oga's Cantina for the environment and to feel like you are in the galaxy far, far away. But probably the most important reason for getting an Oga's late night reservation is this right here. A late night, no human in sight Millennium Falcon shot. This is the money right here. If you're a Star Wars fan, this is an awesome way to end your day. Well, that's a wrap on our video. Thank you so much for watching.
We did this.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, cut to that.